Hello, students, how are you? I believe all of you are healthy and happy. Well, I have a beautiful picture on your screens, right? And it says that mothers and daughters never truly part, maybe in distance, but never in heart. How so very truly said. A mother and a daughter. They are the mirror image of each other. They love each other, respect each other, care for each other, and they look alike too. Their bond is unbreakable. Their bond is something that cannot be understood by anybody else. It's a relationship that a daughter shares with her mother that is so special that you remember it for the entire lifetime. And throughout that entire lifetime, the memories are captured in photographs. And when you look at those photographs, the photograph in which you are with your mother or you are with your daughter, they are so special. Today we are going to go through a very beautiful poem written by Shirley Tolson, a photograph. And whenever we say a photograph, memories are always associated with it. Nostalgia is associated with it. Happiness and tears both are associated with it. So let's delve into this beautiful world created by Shirley Tolson. But before that, let's learn about the poet. Shirley Tolson was born on May 20, 1924 in Henley-on-Thames, England, and she was daughter of Douglas Horsfall Dixon and Marjorie Brown, and a little is written about her personal life, but more important is that she gained education in Birkbeck College, London. Now, as far as some of her books are concerned, these are the ones: Shadows in an Orchard, Circumcision's Not Such a Bad Thing After All, and other poems. And as you can see on the screen that she has written a lot of poems, and these are all the collections: For a Double Time, The Fault, Dear Brutus, and many more. So she happens to be a contemporary poet, and these are some of her work: The Celtic Years, Celtic Journeys, and much more. So we are going to go through one of her poem, that is a photograph in our syllabus of class 11th, Shirley Tolson, and here it goes, the text. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she the big girl, some 12 years or so. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's. That was before I was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Some 20, 30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. Both try with the labored ease of loss. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance, there's nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. So, well, this was the poem, and let's learn about it. A photograph describes 3 stages. In the first stage, the photograph shows the poet's mother standing at the beach enjoying her holiday with her 2 girl cousins. She was 12 or so at that time. The second stage takes us 20 or 30 years later. The mother would laugh at the way she and her cousins Betty and Dolly were dressed up for the beach holiday. And in the third stage, the poet remembers the mother with a very heavy heart. The photograph revives a nostalgic feeling in the poet. So if we'll go back to the text, you'll understand that the first stanza talks about the time when the mother was a child and she went to enjoy a sea holiday with her 2 girl cousins. The second stanza talks about the time when mother was in the middle age, and she would look at the old picture and laugh a lot by remembering the childhood and the way they dressed up. And the last stanza talks about the time when the mother is completely gone and the poet remembers her mother through the photograph. So now let's get back to it and let's start understanding the poem one by one, stanza by stanza. The cardboard shows me how it was when the 2 girl cousins went paddling. It means that the word cardboard is used by the poet and it is an allusion. Allusion is a hint. The cardboard with a photograph shows the transient state of the humans. The poet tells us about the photograph where her mother and her two cousins are on the beach paddling. So, a cardboard, this particular word is used by the poet, and if you look at a cardboard, it represents a photo frame, and that is why allusion, it is a hint that it's not a cardboard, but it represents the photo frame in which the picture is there. And there is one more thing, that if you think about a cardboard, a wooden cardboard like this one, and it is very hard, but when you look at the photograph inside, that it captures, that it holds, they are the soft memories of those times that are gone. So how different they are, the cardboard and the photograph, but they are brought together to bring back memories of our previous times. So again, cardboard is used by the poet to give a hint that cardboard here represents the photo frame. So the mother, along with her two girl cousins, they went on the sea beach for a sea holiday, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. So here in the picture, mother is in the middle of the other two girl cousins. Each of them is holding the hands of the poet's mother, and they are very happy, joyous, in the holiday mood. Of the three, the poet's mother is the biggest one, that is the eldest one, aging around 12 years or so. So these girls were very young when they went for that sea holiday, and they enjoyed a lot. Of course, we all do. And then what happened? All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So we have alliteration in stood still, the sound of S is repeated. Through there, again alliteration is there, the sound is repeated. So all the three girls are presented with innocuous picture where they are facing towards the camera with a smiling face through their hair. They have their uncle with the camera taking the snapshot. So they were looking at the camera, and uncle was the one who was taking the picture. And why they are smiling through their hair? Now, when we go to see beaches, if you have gone to see beaches, then there is that wind blowing. Throughout the wind is blowing, and it is so strong that if you keep your hair open, and even if they are tied, your hair keeps on coming on your face. And if you're smiling, then that expression is smiling through your hair, and that is why the poet has used the all three stood still to smile through their hair. So their hair were moving a lot because of the wind, and they were smiling also because they were enjoying a lot. And their uncle took their snapshot. After that, a sweet face, my mother's. That was before I was born. Again, in my mother's, we have alliteration. The poet narrates the face of her mother to be a very sweet one. Of course, she was a 12-year-old girl, and a child at that, of course, very sweet mother. The poet reminds us about the time gap and asserts that the picture was taken before her birth. So the picture, in the cardboard was much, much older, even older than our poet. Well, moving forward, and what else was visible in the photograph? The girls were there. They were smiling through their hair. One more thing was there in the photograph. What was it? It was the sea. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Now again, in terribly transient, we have alliteration, and in terribly transient feet, we have transferred epithet too. But before that, let us understand what the poet is trying to say through these lines. The poet comments that the less changing of the sea, which reflects the eternal state of the natural elements, and at the same time hints at the transient state of the humans. Transient is momentary. Then the poet acquaints us with the terribly transient feat, meaning the temporary state of the humans. So these lines are very important. Why? Because it represents two different dynamics. On one hand, we have the nature, which is immortal. And if we look at the forms of nature like mountains and sea, then you understand that they have been alive, living on this planet for centuries. And if compared to the lifetime of a human being, I think we live for a moment as far as their biological clock is concerned. And that is why the poet has used terribly transient. That is, the life of the human beings is terribly momentary if compared to the sea, which is millions of years old. And why is there the transferred epithet here? Now, what happens in transferred epithet? Transferred epithet, firstly, you must understand what does epithet refer to. Epithet means an adjective, and transferred epithet means transferring of an adjective from one thing to the other. Now understand, terribly transient feet. So the poet is saying that the feet are momentary. But how can feet be momentary? Momentary is basically a human being. So feet are associated with the entire human being. So what has happened? The adjective that was associated with human beings was transferred to the feet, and that is why transferred epithet. So the poet is not only trying to say that the feet were momentary, no, but the entire human being is momentary. It lives for around 80 years, 100 years, and the sea has lived for millions of years. That is why momentary. So in the picture, the girls are there, the three girls, and the sea is there. Out of the two, one is mortal, that is the girls, and one is immortal, that is the form of nature, the sea here. So that is how both the things in the picture, they are different from each other, the girls as well as the sea. Moving forward to the second stanza. So the sea is obviously immortal, it is perpetual, and human beings, they stay on the planet, live for a particular short period of time, and then they just vanish. Moving forward to the second stanza, some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. So 20-30, we have alliteration. And coming to the explanation, 20 or 30 years later, after the picture was clicked, mother would have laughed at the picture and said, meaning Betty and Dolly, about their awkwardly dressing for the beach. It shows mothers being nostalgic about the past. So 20-30 years later, it means that when the mother was in her middle age, she would look at her old picture and would laugh a lot, that see how we dressed and look at the hair and everything. You know, this is a very common thing, we all do this. Whenever we look at our old pictures, we always start laughing. And we always are so concerned that how we dressed, and look at the hair and the makeup and everything. It's so different and it's so funny also. So the mother used to enjoy all that time, and obviously whenever we look at the old pictures, we become nostalgic. We think about the old days that are gone and never going to come back. We want to go back to that place and enjoy all that all over again. That is called nostalgia. So this poem is about nostalgia indeed, when mother used to remember her past. And the sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Both try with a labored ease of loss. Labored ease is oxymoron. So why is it oxymoron? Labored is working hard. Ease is easing off. Both are very different from each other, actually opposite to each other, but both are being placed together by the poet. So when something like this happens, it is called an oxymoron. Now the feeling, a feeling of pain is presented here. The poet states that for the mother, the happy sea holidays, they were her past memories. And for the poet, her mother's laughter is a past, a thing of past. Here both are feeling the loss on both parts. So what has happened here, that when mother used to look at the picture, at that time the snapshot, the sea holiday, was her past. Now in the present time, when the poet looks at the photograph, the mother's laughter has become a thing of past, because the mother is no more with the daughter. And here we come to know that at the time the poem is written, the mother is already gone. And the poet is also becoming nostalgic about her mother, the way the mother became nostalgic about her childhood. Now we go to the third and the most important stanza. This is the present state, that is why now. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. The poet here acquaints that girl, that is her mother, has been dead as many years as she had lived, and how the circumstance, which is melancholic and hopeless one, and the situation made the poet speechless. Her pain kept her silent. So, when she has to talk about her mother's death, when she has to talk about the emotions that she is facing when the mother is gone completely and is never going to come back, that has made her absolutely silent, and she is unable to speak about it. And if you look at the lengths of these three stanzas, you will understand that they are in that, descending order. The first stanza was quite big when she talked about her mother's childhood, the happy days. Then she talked a little about her middle age when mother was there and she too was there. And when she comes to the last stanza and talks about her mother's death, then it becomes impossible for her to move on, to move ahead also. And that is why this stanza is the smallest one. She has nothing to say about her mother's death. She don't want to talk about it. So as you can see in the picture, the daughter is there, but the mother's image is fading slowly. And after fading slowly, she will completely disappear. And the mother is like gone forever. And you cannot see the mother anymore. And that has made her completely silent. That how come that happened? The mother is gone and she will never come back. I cannot hold her. I cannot look at her. I cannot hear her laughter, talk to her. Well, the last line, it's silence silences. It means that the silence that is created because of the death of her mother made her completely silent, leaving her in utter pain. And the poetic device is alliteration, silence, silences. This is how the poem comes to an end. Let's review it a bit. Now, a photograph is an embodiment of time and timelessness. Shirley Tolson's A Photograph unfolds the very tenet of time and timelessness. Tenet is opinion or an idea, notion. The poem strongly hints at the eternal state of the natural being and the ephemeral state of the humans. Ephemeral is immortal state. The mortal state, that we will die one day. Here we are acquainted with a picture of sea beach and three girls, including the poet's mother. Sea rarely changed, but the mother of the poet met the haunts of death. So that shows that the sea or the mountains or nature is immortal, but we are not. A photograph is a melancholic poem too, because here we are acquainted about the loss, pain, and separation. The smiling photograph creates a pang in the heart of the poet as she remembers and misses her mother with a doleful heart. The absence of a mother in her life has made her life a very gloomy one. Gloomy is sad. So the mothers are all around us, they do everything for us, and even imagining about the days when the mother is not there, not at all there, it's quite impossible. And A Photograph is at heart a nostalgic poem. If nostalgia describes sentimentality for the past, typically for a period of place with happy personal associations, then A Photograph is a nostalgic poem for sure. We find the poet to acquaint us with past happy moments related to her mother's childhood and happy days when the mother was there with her, when she was in her middle age. So this is how this beautiful poem is, and it talks about emotions, it talks about the pain of separation, the loss one experiences, nostalgia, the melancholy that we face. Obviously we have to face it. And it talks about that how time moves on and people come and go with that time, but the nature remains there. So this is the message that is being conveyed through this short poem, and I will end this session with this quote, which I find completely in harmony with the poem that we have read right now. I truly never learned what the words "I miss you" were until I reached for my mom's hand and it wasn't there. So losing your mother forever and ever is something that makes you teary eyed and you cannot accept it, but well, that will happen. And when that will happen, you have to be strong and you have to accept it also. But go back to the memories, smile a bit, cry a bit, and remember that the mothers are those creatures who are sent to us by God, because He cannot be everywhere, right? So let's close it for now. Thank you.